I'm Susan Roberti, and welcome to Let's Talk Tail Waggers. I'm so glad that you're here today. We're going to have a wonderful show, and you're going to hear about the sad world of the kitty cats that live outside. But before I get started, I want to say thank you to my camera person. Thank you, Hayden. You know, BPTV is all volunteers, and you are more than welcome to come up and do a show, learn how to do cameras. We always need somebody to volunteer their time, even if it's a half an hour to do half an hour show. If you would like to come up and do a show, it's fun. And if you have a passion, anything that you like to do, or a organization that you're in and you'd like to tell the world about it, it's fun. It really and truly is. Dave, our executive director, is very, very kind, and when you come up and talk to him, he makes it real easy, really. And then you just sit down and look in the camera and off you go. So you're always welcome at BPTV. And please stop up. And your name is?
Michelle Miller.
And what do you do?
I'm a board member of the Homeless Cat Management Team out of Tarentum.
And what is that all about?
Homeless Cat Management Team is essentially a TNR program that stands for Trap, Neuter, Release. And we do that for community cats, otherwise known as feral cats. Mm-hmm. But we like to shift the focus more off the word feral and go to community cats.
Yeah. And it's sad for them, their life outside. It really is. And what do you mean by trapping? What do you do for trapping?
Well, people call us when they have cats that they're feeding outside. Sometimes they don't call when they have one or two, but they wait until there's a bigger issue. So maybe when they have kittens or, a cat's injured, and then we step in and try to help that person. So by colony, what we mean, there can be a colony of one. Essentially, when I say colony, I just mean stray cats that someone is feeding or caring for outside. Mm-hmm. When we say trap, we are using humane traps that you can buy, Tractor Supply, or any place like that sells them. They're sort of box traps that have, they're square. And we set those and trap or catch the cats, take them into our clinic. We have a full-service spay-neuter clinic. Wow. And they get spayed or neutered, they get vaccinated for rabies, and a quick overview of their body, of their appearance, physical. Yeah, it's not too in depth because we're doing high volume. We can do upwards of 103 cats a day.
Wow!
So they're not getting,
holy cow.
They're not getting like full blood work or anything like that. But we are
you're looking
checking
for
them
ticks
over.
And
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and little wounds and things that you can see real quick.
Right, and our facility is actually the only one I know of. Most of the others they keep it at the spay-neuter because of the high volume. But our doctors are wonderful, and they will stay later and do the extra things. So we've done eye inoculations, we've done limb amputations, tail amputations, dental extractions, those things that the kitty's never going to get again because they're likely never going to see a doctor again. So we go the extra mile sort of to get those things done for the cat, and our doctors are amazing. Sometimes they've stayed till 10, 11 o'clock at night doing surgeries.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. See, I don't think anyone really understands what these little guys go through. When someone drops them off or they get lost, and it's sad. It really and truly breaks your heart. And like you're saying, no one would ever think about their teeth. When you see, we have these cats down the street and they're, pains in the neck. But they're dear creatures, and they're frightened to death of human beings, and there's no way that you can ever get them to like you. I mean, maybe there will be an exception to the rule. And if you get them when they're little kittens,
Right.
They really don't realize. But it's amazing that their mothers do teach them at a very early age that humans are bad.
Right.
And they do. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I've been around them, and it's really amazing how those little ones seem to know. But if you get them away from mom, and take your time. But they have to take for a tail because they have an abscess or a sore on their tail. And I would imagine the males are pretty messy because they like to fight.
They do. Yeah, we've had some pretty serious abscesses on kitties. We just started renting our facility, our building, because before that we would do the surgeries like at the Animal Rescue League or Animal Friends, and we would rent out the space. And then we decided we needed our own building. So that's why we got the place in Trentham. And so now we have the capability to keep those kitties overnight, because if we take a tail.
Oh, really?
Yeah, if we take a tail or a limb off a cat, we can't send the cat home, expect the caregiver to take care of it. They don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So we have the capability to keep a cat for up to a week, 2 weeks. We've had them and let them heal. We actually had a cat with a broken pelvis, and we had her for 6 weeks because that's the healing for a pelvis. You can't do anything for that except let them cage rest. So we had to keep her for 6 weeks. That was fun. A feral cat in a cage for 6 weeks.
It probably sounded like there was like a little bit of devil somewhere. Because sometimes I know when we caught them, I myself personally did not, but we had some up on Industrial Boulevard, and a lady came and captured them, and took them and had them fixed. And they just hiss and sound and they'll growl, and it's like, oh my Lord! And then you feel so bad.
You do, and their intention. I mean, that's sort of the stigma. Is you don't need to be afraid. I mean, of course, you're not going to go and grab a cat off the street. But, there's not really a reason to be afraid. So when we had that cat in the cage for 6 weeks, she wasn't trying to hurt us. She's just scared. So the hissing it's scared. It's a defense mechanism when the cat is scared. So essentially, if you give the cat a box in that cage, they're going to hide from you because they just don't know how to interact with humans.
Like I said, it's unlikely that they ever will.
Right.
And it's very hard for a mama kitty to have babies, and she has to hide somewhere to have them, and then she has to go out and hunt and eat and then come back and nurse them. And I've done programs where people have said to me they don't like cats because they're sneaky. And, and I just say, well, if you had babies somewhere under a car and you had to go out and get dinner, you wouldn't be making a whole bunch of noise on the way out. So they're not sneaky. That's just the beauty of them, I think, to watch them.
Right.
And catching a chipmunk or whatever is, oh, look out. So where are you doing all this now?
Well, originally, like I said, when we didn't have a standalone building, the caretakers would trap themselves. We had your little ladies out there trapping cats themselves and lugging them in and getting the surgeries done 1-2 at a time. And that's the way it used to be. Now, when I started, it was 2008, and it was still sort of that way. My goal was to make it sort of more accessible for people. So what I did for the organization was kind of, I created a smaller Facebook group where I got volunteers, and where I could post, Dorothy is 83 and she can't really trap, so can somebody come out and help her.
What a
so
nice idea.
this Facebook group, I just kind of started it on a whim, but it's grown. We have about 500 members now.
Wow.
And it, you know, the people are amazing. I can shout out, you know, because I have a regular job too. So, you know, I can shout out from work and just say, hey, someone called in and they're in Bethel Park and they have 5 cats. Can somebody help? And, you know, within an hour, I've got somebody on it. You know, they're I'll handle it, I'll take it, and someone else is helping them. And we've got a really great network of people. So it's kind of amazing. So at this point, you know, we go anywhere where we have a volunteer. I mean, I would say we've got people coming from about 5 different counties. We've got people coming from Allegheny, Westmoreland, Fayette, Butler, and Armstrong County, I know of specifically. Wow. We're trying to go into more of the areas now that are underserved because, as I stated, the Animal Rescue League, Animal Friends, Western PA Humane Society, they all have TNR programs now where people can bring cats in. Mm-hmm. We're still the only group that actually will go out and trap for people. But being that all of these programs are in place sort of in Allegheny County here, we're trying to go and try to reach out to more underserved areas now. So we're doing some work in Butler and Fayette County because there's really nothing there. There's nothing, and they need help there. And we actually just purchased a van, and we're an all donation organization, so that was all through donations. We purchased a little transit van, and we're calling it the Kitty Uber. We're probably not allowed to say that, but
they are.
So we're going. Well, I don't know. I was going to decal Kitty Uber on it, and they said, "Oh, you're probably not allowed to use that's a brand name." Yeah. But I don't know. We're calling it that because people know what that is. And I drive around to the different places and pick up the cats. So I say, you know, if someone can trap in Connellsville, I'll pick them up, and that alleviates the pressure off the person that lives in Connellsville that can't fit 7 traps in their car.
Yeah, and there's people that just simply do not know about you.
Right.
And they do not know about trapping. And they spade them, right?
Yes.
And they like nip their little ears so you can tell that they were done. And like we were talking about fixing them and checking them and all of that. And when they're done and you bring them back, you leave them go exactly the same place that you caught them, right?
Correct.
And why is that necessary to do that? Is there a specific way to why you do that?
Well, we do make sure that they're being cared for in that area by someone.
Okay.
There are times where we've picked cats up that are on you know, one's in a Walmart parking lot, or one's in, you know, we trap some kittens up in South Park at McDonald's. We don't feel like that's a safe area for them to go back to. If it's a high traffic, you know, high cars and things like that, sometimes we relocate. Relocating community cats is difficult because they're used to the area where they were.
Right. They know all the hiding places.
Right, and they'll, you know, 9 times out of 10 try to get back there. So a lot of people think, you know, I just had a woman call that runs a community home center, you know, condominiums. And she said, well, when you trap them, can't you just go take them to a farm? I said, you know, cats, I wish they did, but they don't listen. I can't say, you stay on this farm now. Don't try to go back home. You know, you can't, and they're probably going to die trying to get back there, you know, getting hit by a car or something of that nature. So there's a very stringent relocation process to follow if you're going to try to do that. It involves caging the cat for a number of weeks. And things to acclimate it to the new area.
Oh, really?
So it can be done. And a lot of times it's still not successful. So we only use that as a last resort.
Yeah, because if they were born there, that's their life is there. It truly, it's sad. It just makes you so sad. It does me because they're very happy. We don't think they're happy, and they shouldn't be living like that. But fortunately, they don't know that.
Correct.
So if you get them done and you bring them back, that's what we did. We brought them back and left them go right where, we caught them behind an auto body shop, and they were just as happy as pie, you know. And then we never saw any kittens in the springtime. Because one time the one little mummy, she actually brought her babies into the auto body shop, and she left.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She just left them. And,
if they know they can't care for them.
Yeah. And he got them, and we took them over to a place in Mount Lebanon. I don't think they're there anymore. Is it with Mount Lebanon or was Brookline? But a lady that took, the little feral cats, and boy, they just got snatched up and got good homes. And, there's a lot of wonderful people out there, but they have to understand about feral cats.
Right.
And if you see one, chances are
there's more than one.
Yeah, and they hide very well.
Yeah, and males will go, they can travel up to a mile looking for a female to mate with. So,
Yeah. And then they fight.
They do fight. Neutering the males gets rid of that behavior, the caterwauling, the spraying.
Yeah, and the screaming.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the fighting, they really can do a number.
Right.
On each other.
Yes.
And when you get them spayed, all that behavior goes away.
Right.
And then they can be friends when you leave them out. They know each other, and they don't have to fight to be the dominant male. They just are happy little guys.
Yeah. We'd love for all cats to be indoors, obviously, and safe. And that's, the goal of what we're doing is to eventually one day get to that, by spaying and neutering the population that are out on the street now, letting them live their lives out, and hopefully, by doing that, there won't be any more homeless cats.
We haven't had any, and it's been many years, and we haven't had any up around our place. I don't know further down on Industrial Boulevard, but I do know that each winter we look to see if there's any cat tracks, in the snow, and there hasn't been. So they lived their life out.
Yes.
And when we didn't see the little feet prints anymore, because he puts food out every day for them. But when they didn't come back, then either they moved on or they just got old.
Right.
Yeah. And that's what you are trying to do.
Correct. I say we're the only business that wants to go out of business. Eventually, we'd like to not, have to do this and have to see them outside. But cats have been outside for many, many years. Inside cats, the concept of an inside cat is less than a century old. Cat litter was first manufactured. Do you know what year? In the 40s.
Really?
So it's that new of a concept to have a cat inside.
Nice.
So, they do live outside. They do live happy, healthy lives outside. Certainly if they're friendly and jumping in your lap, and that's why we initiated Pittsburgh Cat, which is the Pittsburgh Cat Adoption Team, and that's part of Homeless Cat Management Team now. And I think, Tara will talk to you later in the summer about that group. But we formed that group because we were finding so many friendly cats out there.
Aww.
And we didn't want to put them back out on the street, so we formed another team of volunteers.
Well, do you think that they were lost? That they were okay? New people, that they're friendly?
Well, likely when we find a friendly cat that comes in for surgery, we scan for a microchip. And if they don't have a microchip, we assume, and if they're not fixed, we assume that they don't have homes. We do from time to time. Now, if we find an altered kitty, we share on Facebook, we share on Craigslist to try to find the owner of the cat.
Wow.
And sometimes we do. But, that's why microchipping your pet is really important.
Thank you for saying that. It really is. I had we got a little calico cat from the Humane Society, and she just was the best girl. And she came from a farm, and she was feral, but she was just decided to like people. It was really wild. And we brought her home, and she stayed on the same chair for the whole winter. She'd get down and go eat, and she was just exquisitely beautiful. And she'd get back up on that chair. And springtime came, and she went to the door, and she just started carrying on because, she was raised outside. So we talked about it and said, well, we're just going to have to let go and let God and hope that she doesn't go away. And we opened the screen door, and she went out on her porch, and she laid out there, and she put her back legs out straight. And she laid there, and she had these white paws. And she laid there and looked and smelled all around, And then night came, and she came right in. So the next morning, she went across the street, and before you knew it, she had her 4 houses, her territory. And she didn't go any further. And we had her for 17 years. And and she just mesmerized men. If any man would walk down the street because she was so the colors, oranges and browns. But she was just the best, and we were so blessed that we went down to the Humane Society, and there she was. And I'm looking at the little kittens to get a little kitten, and I'm going, hey, come on over here, little kitten. And then I'm talking to myself, and I look back, and there they are down there, and she had snagged them with her little paw came out of the cage, and Frank said, this is the one that's coming home.
She picked you, right? I have a calico too, and she was raised. I got her at 8 weeks, so she was raised completely in the house. Doesn't like anybody but me, and there's no reason for it. So that's why I say the term feral doesn't really mean born outside, because you would think that my cat was feral if you met her, because she would hiss, she would growl. She doesn't like anybody. She doesn't even like my mother, who's known her whole life. She just it's me, and that's it.
Well, we have 2 that were born in a box, raised in a room, and we got them, and brought them home. And one, we call him the greeter. When you come to the house, he comes and greets you. It's Banjo. And then Lad is the psycho. And he just goes. And they were born in a box. And from that little room, they came to our house, never outside, But that's the joy of kitty cats. You never know what you're going to get. And if you get a lover, now when it gets cold, they're little heat suckers. They get on you. But that's the beauty of them. I love them.
Very independent.
Yeah. They're your boss.
Yes.
Really and truly. But there's nothing sweeter than cuddling. I sit and think sometimes on a real cold night, and I think about the ones that are out there. I wish I could get in a car and just go drive and find them and feed them. Because when we fed them up there in Industrial Boulevard, it just made us feel good.
Yeah.
Every night to know they were getting fed. What's the most you ever find at one time?
We did a trailer park in Apollo, Armstrong County. Wait, am I saying that right? Ford City, I'm sorry. Armstrong County, Ford City. It was a trailer park that reached out to us with a feral problem. We got volunteers. We went up there. We're trapped in January. It was 10 degrees.
I was going to say.
We were there for 2 days, and we ended up trapping 93 cats.
Oh, you're kidding.
No, we got everybody, though. We got 93. It was a 2-day process. We fixed everybody.
Wow.
We removed one cat that was friendly. There was one out of them that was really not taking no for an answer. He was very, very friendly. It turned out he had feline leukemia, which is potentially it's a fatal disease. But they can live lives. So a sanctuary that we work with, Beautiful Feral Felines, in Mount Pleasant, took the kitty. They have leukemia positive kitties. They took him, and he lived almost 2 years with them.
Aww.
Yeah. So, but other
See, that's another thing they get when they're out there. They pass it, don't they, to one another?
They can. It was strange. We think that cat was obviously dumped there because nobody else in the colony had it. So we think he was a drop off because
now,
he was very
did the
friendly.
people there know that there were that many cats there?
They did. I think that they don't realize. I think a lot of it is financial struggle because these people were struggling just to buy food to feed all those cats. So they certainly didn't have the funds.
They probably didn't know you existed, huh?
Right, and if they do know that programs exist, they certainly don't think that we would come out and do all that for nothing. Well, we fundraised on our own to cover the cost of the surgeries and stuff. And
I imagine some of the places that you go and do this, they kind of donate to you too.
Yeah, we try. We ask that
people
give donation. But
did you leave them all go back there?
Yes.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
There were no kittens at that point in time because it was January.
Yeah.
So we really headed off a disaster there because there would have been so many kittens come spring. Yeah, 93.
Wow. Oh, wow. And the people knew or estimated about how many there were there?
Yeah, when they called, they said 100, and I didn't believe it, but they were pretty close. And it was a big trailer park, so there were, this woman was feeding 20, and this guy was feeding 15. So
nice.
They weren't like 100 all
I
in
know.
one
I
place,
know what you mean. Yeah.
That's I think that's the most that we've ever.
Well, the people were nice enough to feed them.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you took them back, they were still going to be responsible to feed them?
They were, and they were the best, the most cooperative people, because anyone I trap for, I tell them, the way this works is if a new cat shows up, now typically a new cat isn't going to show up because of, it's called the vacuum effect. Mm-hmm. So you put the cats back, they're spayed and neutered, they sort of defend their territory. But occasionally it happens, or someone will dump a cat. Mm-hmm. So I tell everyone I trap for, if a new cat ever shows up, I need you to call me right away, because that can restart your whole problem. You get one cat that's pregnant.
You better believe it.
Some of them do, some of them don't. Maybe some of them don't have cats show up. But the people in Ford City really stayed on top of that. So in the past 3 years, they've called us, I think, 3 or 4 times with new cats that someone has dumped off.
Yeah, that's what people do.
Right, and we fix those cats, and we've maintained the problem there. It's stable.
Well, guess what? It's time to say goodbye.
Okay.
And I'm so glad you made it today, because
Thanks
the people out there really have to hear. And you'll give me all your information so that we can put it at the end of the show.
Sure.
Okay, so people can contact you. As I've tried to tell you many times about the feral cats, they're to have somebody as lovely as this, I could cry. To know that now there are people getting out there, but it's a thankless job, and it's hard. Like you did all that in January. But the love for the kitty cats and knowing how dangerous it is for them, but they enjoy their wildlife, and you don't want them not to have that. So I want to tell you all that I love you. Thank you for all the nice things that you say when I see you. Don't forget the Humane Society, and thanks from all the tail waggers.